collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Leader Class Scourge from the Transformers Studio series from Hasbro. Obviously, Scourge is from the upcoming film Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and he is number 101 in the Studio series. Really cool artwork of Scourge here on the front, and you can kind of see in the background there's this like aqueduct looking thing with the arches. I've been told by some people that this is like a park or something, that one of the scenes is going to take place, because we have seen this backdrop with a previous release. I can't remember exactly who, but we have seen this backdrop before. Over here, just have some close-up of Scourge. Says Leader Class down there, number 101. Spinning around to this side, we have some different artwork of Scourge, which is pretty cool. Usually, they use the same picture over and over again, so to have a different picture on this side is actually pretty neat. And then over here on the back, we have some product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. Definitely looks a lot darker here on the product shots than the actual toy. It's close, but it just seems really dark here on the product shots. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the packaging. So I'm going to go ahead and get them out of the box here, and we'll take a closer look. So here's a quick look at Scourge in the backdrop that does come provided in the box. And again, it's that same background picture that we saw on the front of the box. But he fits pretty well in here. He looks really good. If you have the room to display it like this, I think it's a really nice thing to do. Unfortunately, I personally do not, but I always like when they include these because I think it's kind of a cool backdrop, and he fits really well in the space. Here is Scourge out of the packaging. He looks fantastic. I think it did a great job with the robot mode. Very minimal kibble, and it's compressed very nicely onto this backpack section. Doesn't really get in the way of any of the articulation, so I really don't mind it whatsoever. And he's just a really cool design. I mean, this guy is really fantastic. Let's take a quick look at the head sculpt here. I love this. So I feel like the head really just looks like the Terracon symbol. He's got this kind of like neck piece here that kind of reminds me of like the headdress of an Egyptian god. Just really, really neat. You got the smokestacks back here, and there's just so much detail everywhere. Like if you really look at this figure, there's just so much molded in detail, and the paint applications look really sharp. I think the head is done in the translucent orange plastic and then painted silver. So you should have some light piping there, which is really nice. You can see all of this paint and detail here. He's got these chains wrapped around his arm. All of the chains in the grill here, which are for the chest. And then even down here, you have some more chains. Just all in all, he's got this giant double-bladed scythe weapon. I guess it's not really a scythe, but it's a double-bladed weapon, melee weapon. It looks really, really cool. And again, you have a lot of detail here on the back. And you can see that these were done in the translucent orange plastic as well and then painted, but it really matches well. It looks good. I'm just super impressed with this guy. Articulation-wise, he has got a ball joint here at the base of the skull, so you can look up pretty far, look down a little bit. You can have him rotate the head there side to side. You also have a ball joint here at the base of the neck. So you can go down, back, spin that side to side as well. So a lot of articulation there in the head and neck. Here in the shoulder, you have a hinge right here. And then you also have a forward rotation. And then you can kind of move this around a little bit. You can see the shoulder pad here moves a little bit, so you can move that around. You have a bicep swivel right above the elbow. You have 90 degrees in the elbow, and he's got this kind of like tentacle capture claw thing going on here. He is ready to just scoop down and pick up whatever plush animals might be inside the machine. And this has articulation. All of these can move on a hinge, which is really, really nice, because we're going to have to fold that up for transformation. You have a waist swivel here. You have really nice movement here in the hips. Kick all the way out to the side. You can kick pretty far back. Really, that back kibble doesn't get in the way at all. Kick all the way forward, which is really nice. You have a thigh swivel there. Really nice ratchets here for the knees. You can really hear the ratchets there. And then you have this joint here in the ankle so that you can kind of kick this pretty far forward. It will kind of click back a little bit to lock in place for the transformation. And then you have an ankle tilt here as well. For the other arm, I should probably go over this because it has the weapon here. This is actually connected, so you can't remove this. Now you open up the fingers like that. It does have a hinge there for all of the fingers. And then this can rotate back. So if you want him to just have his hand, you can. You can fold this up, But unfortunately, you can't really get this out of the way. The most you can do is kind of bring this back. It has this little hinge here, and you could do something like that, which I don't really think looks that good. This joint is mostly utilized for transformation, so you could kind of have it down like this, but I feel like that looks kind of dumb. I wish there was a little rotation just right here so that you could just rotate this piece and have it be along the back of the forearm. I feel like that would have been amazing. It would have really gotten it out of the way so that you don't have to utilize it all the time if you don't want to. But the way it is, because you can't do that, I kind of feel like if he's in robot mode, there's really no reason not to have that in his hand, because it looks kind of goofy just hanging here off the front, and that's kind of a bummer. All they would have had to do is put in a little joint right here so that that could have rotated around 180, and then it would have been kind of stored along the forearm, and I think that would have been perfect. Now, to be fair, he doesn't really need this hand for anything. He does have a blaster, and how it works, you can see the piece right here, and this is actually pretty neat. So you're going to grab a hold of the claw arm, and you're just going to pop it right off, and then he's going to fall back, but that's fine. And then you're going to take this, and you're going to line it up. There's like a little notch so you know which way to put it on. And then this is going to slide right on here. And then he's going to have like a Mega Man style Mega Buster, which I think is kind of cool. The other thing that's kind of neat, you can take the other arm piece, kind of fold this all up, and then there is a little tab right here, which we will tab in right there. And you can store this on the back if you want. It looks a little goofy, kind of hanging down, but I think you can actually flip it around. Can we do it this way? Yeah, you can kind of do it that way. I feel like because there's some things in the way, it doesn't fit as flush, but you can still get it to work. I just think that looks a little bit cooler to have that over the shoulder like that, as opposed to just hanging down on the back like a tail. So he's got this Mega Man style Mega Buster here, which is kind of cool. And if you want to take this off and put this one back on, very simple to do. Give him the creepy claw arm. There we go. You can store this back here. There is a tab here, which will tab into a spot right here on his butt, and so we just pop that on there. So no matter which arm attachment you're utilizing, there is storage for the other. I think that's fantastic. I really like this a lot. I really, really do. Like I said, my only complaint is the fact that you can't kind of store this along the back of the forearm, because I just feel like that would be so much cooler to have this fold in, then have this rotate around so that, you know, that way it's not just hanging out. And that way he could kind of have his hand, and then it would just flip around, pop up into his hand, and deploy. I mean, the way it is, I just really don't see why you would have it just hang there. I'm just going to put it in his hand all the time. It's a minor nitpick because it is cool to have that weapon. And like I said, considering all his other options are with the other hand, there's not really a need to have him not holding that. And he looks much cooler holding it. But I just think it would have been neat to have it store back here. That's my only complaint. Everything else, honestly, about this guy is pretty perfect. The articulation's great. He looks fantastic. The design's amazing. The color scheme, all of the paint and detailing that went into this, just really, really cool. I would say he's probably one of my favorite Studio Series leaders in a while. Well, that's excluding 86 stuff. I would say in terms of, you know, the actual movie Michael Bay verse, whatever. I guess Bumblebee's not technically part of the Bay verse, but excluding the Dinobots, basically, he's definitely up there as one of the best Studio Series leader class. I think this guy is absolutely fantastic. Alright, transformation for this guy is actually really, really cool and definitely not as convoluted as you may expect. I'm going to start by just kind of closing up the claw hand, because that's going to come into play later. And I'm also going to pop this down and just fold this in on itself to get those ready. But we're basically going to start here with the backpack. This is going to unpeg here. You can see that there was a tab right there, and it was tabbed in right there. So this is going to come back. This little section here is going to flip up, and then this little section here is going to flip up. And then you're going to flip out these panels here, like so. You can see that they were tabbed in. There's these large tabs right here, the translucent orange tabs, and they were tabbed in here. So that all holds together really nice. You can also kind of accordion this piece out like that, and then just kind of kick this up out of the way like so. Then we're going to come down to the legs. We are going to rotate them 180 degrees at the thighs, like so. Now, they make a big deal about pulling out these wheel pieces. I really don't know what it does, but they say you're supposed to pull these wheel pieces out a little bit. They're kind of hard to grab a hold of, and I really don't know how far they actually pop out, but they pop out ever so slightly. I mean, I guess it's just to kind of align these so that one's not indented more than the other. But I feel like I still can't really grab a hold of these and pull them out as far as they're supposed to go. That's about as far as I can do. As far as I can tell, it doesn't do anything or really have any kind of impact on the vehicle motor in any way. But there you go. So then you're going to kind of click these back as far as they'll go, and they'll kind of lock into place. Now at this point, you can see that there's a tiny little peg hidden underneath the foot or the toe. You're going to want to pop that out like so. Then you're going to use this joint right here to flip these out to the side. And then they are going to come up here and tab into the leg. So you can see that there's a rather large tab right there. And there's a tab spot right here on the foot. So this is going to come up and tab onto there. And I've accidentally pushed the wheel in. I'm just going to leave them. They don't matter. We're going to bring this down, bring this up, and tab this into place like so. Now, before you tab the feet together, because I know you're probably wanting to do that, we have to come up here to the arm. And this is going to just situate itself like this so that you have this kind of pointing straight up. And then you're going to unhook. You can see that this was tabbed in here to the body. This is going to, let me get this out of the way a little bit, flip around like so, straighten out the arm. You just kind of have to make sure that this is all correctly oriented. Oh, you know why? I know what I did. I forgot to extend out this piece. So, remember how I showed earlier how this piece can kind of come all the way down like this? You're going to need to do that before we do anything else. That's why I'm having trouble and having clearance issues. So we're going to bring this around now. This is going to sit down here like so. And then there's a tab here on the side of the weapon that is going to tab in right there to the side of the leg. So that is going to tab. And you kind of have to just make sure that you're not getting in the way of the foot, but it shouldn't be a problem. So that's going to tab in there like so. You can kind of close up the fingers of the hand if you haven't already. So that's how that should be. Now you can go ahead and tab these together. Now before you do that, the directions don't really mention this, but you can see that there are these little pegs right here, and there's an obvious spot to peg them into the side of the leg, so you need to make sure you do that, otherwise they're never going to meet in the middle. So make sure that this one is in. Why aren't you doing it? Is the scythe weapon in the way? Let me unpeg this temporarily. I keep calling it a scythe, but it's not. Okay, apparently I'll just pop this off. That's how we do that, apparently. So, why is this not cooperating? Okay, I think that's in. Let me make sure that this is connected. So this looks like this is just popping out ever so slightly, and you can just pop it right back in there. Let me peg this back in. There we go. And then make sure that's tabbed in, and then you can tab the legs together. It's probably just something's not 100% lined up. I probably have one of the joints. Is that better? Hopefully that's okay. I feel like I don't quite have this oriented correctly, but I think I'm okay. That should be good. Okay, so there you go. We have the whole back section of the truck. The rest of this is actually pretty cool. So we're going to start by taking this, unhooking this, making sure that this is up as far as it can go and bringing the arm down. Then you're going to flip this up as well and leave this around here. Just make sure that the head's not getting in the way. And this is going to kind of sit back here. Now, this little section here is going to become part of the front of the truck. So we're going to bring this down and kind of collapse that in, and that'll kind of peg in like that. This is going to come down, and these two shoulder pads are going to peg into that. So there's a little connection up here and a little connection up here. So you just want to make sure all of that is pegged in, and you can see the front of the truck now kind of taking shape. That's actually really, really cool. This next part, I think, is even cooler. So we're going to take these little pieces and flip them down like so. This section is going to lift up. This is going to unhook. And then you're going to rotate this down like this. And then the whole wheel piece is going to rotate up. This will collapse more like that. And then this will fit into this little section underneath here. So this is going to come around. It can take a little effort sometimes, but once you get it in there, it will go exactly where it needs to. And then you're just going to bring the other wheel around, and that's going to tab in right here to right there. And there we go. So that's, and then you can bring this up. Sorry, that's going to pop up like that. That's really cool. I think that's really neat, the way that whole chest plate rotates around. And then the two wheels pop up. I think that's really, really cool. So at this point, we're pretty much already done. We're going to take the two smokestacks, and you're going to rotate this up, and then this is going to rotate up, and they're going to connect. And it's kind of neat because now that they're like this, they can't really like go backwards. And then you're going to bring this down. So there's a tab in here that's going to tab in there. This tab is going to go in here, and then this section here, you can see there's kind of two tabs. That has to go around this one claw piece. So you may have to adjust the hand as needed to make that happen. But if you bring this in, and that goes there, and then kind of just move the arm, there we go. That is all situated correctly, and that's pegged in. And then this side, we're going to do the same thing. This little tab is going to go in here, and this little tab is going to go here on the side of the leg, right there. So then this comes down. Oops, sorry, I forgot to do this part first. Flip the smokestacks up. And then bring this down, click that into place. And there we go. We have Scourge in truck mode. Let me adjust this. So if we bring this in, I think this looks phenomenal. I mean, the engineering used for this, I think, is really, really cool. When I first saw this, I expected it to be just really intricate, a lot of panels and things, because the robot mode doesn't really look like it has any truck bits on it whatsoever. They do a really nice job of hiding most of the truck stuff like in the backpack, and it compresses up really nicely. And then you have the grill piece here that kind of becomes the chest, but it kind of blends in. It's not super obviously a chest piece. Or, I'm sorry, it's not super obviously the grill. It kind of looks like almost like a rib cage kind of a thing. And I think that works really well. You have the translucent orange plastic, which looks really, really cool. Now you do have a little bit of a gap here, but you can kind of see the orange plastic, so that kind of fills it in. That's on the inside here from this piece that was in the center. So that does a decent job of kind of filling in that hole there. I just think it's a really neat design, and it rolls very well. Now we still have this piece, his little Mega Buster arm cannon. You can actually pop this open. You can see that there's a ball joint on each end. So as we pop this open like this, that will flip out. Then there's actually a swivel here in the center. And then you just have to orient these so that these pieces with the tab holes are kind of facing down. And then he's got two tabs here on what I think were the knees. And then you're just going to drop this on here. And then this one will peg on this side like so. And then now you have storage for that piece. Hold on, I have this. There we go, like that. I mean, that looks a little weird, but it stores there. I think it's fine. I guess it kind of looks maybe like a trailer hitch. I think that's what they're going for. But I like this a lot. I just think this is a really successful alt mode, and especially to go from the robot mode that we had to this alt mode, I think is nothing short of magic. I mean, the engineering on these is just getting better and better and better, and I really like this quite a bit. I just think this is a really fantastic looking truck mode. Now, the thing with the wheel, we talked about how we had to pop out that wheel. I don't really know that it makes a difference. Let me see if I push them in, if anything changes at all. Maybe it doesn't. I mean, mine's not rolling 100% perfectly, and I know it's just because I have the legs out of whack slightly. So that's just a little bit of a not lining something up perfectly for transformation, but it still rolls really well. So I don't know. I don't really know that those have to be pulled out. I don't really know what that does. I don't really think it makes any kind of a difference. I think it's purely an aesthetic thing just to have this be at the same, you know, extension as this one. And this one is purely cosmetic. It doesn't hit the ground. It doesn't roll on that one. It doesn't do anything. So, I mean, maybe it's supposed to. Maybe I have the knee a little messed up here. That's very possible. Yeah, it is possible. It does kind of look, the more I look at it, like I have the knees not fully in the right position. So, you know, that's just something I need to correct. But when you're transforming it, just make sure you have the knees clicked as far as they'll go. But still, overall, it rolls really well. It looks fantastic. Again, all of the detailing and paint applications with the scuff and everything. Very, very cool. Definitely a Mad Max style truck, which I think is really neat. Just all in all, I love this thing's alt mode. I think Scourge is pretty close to perfect. I mean, like I said, this is definitely one of my favorite leader class figures from the Studio Series, excluding the Dinobots, just talking about the actual movie verse, not the 86 movie. But this guy is just really a lot of fun. I think the head sculpt looks amazing. All of the paint and detailing on the robot mode and the vehicle mode look fantastic. Really great articulation. His accessories are really cool. It's a fun transformation, like seeing how it was engineered while you're transforming it is really, really neat and fun. It's not overly complicated. You do it one or two times and you'll pick it up. It's really not that difficult. And everything just really like compresses nicely on the backpack here to the point that like you really don't see a ton of truck kibble on him in the robot mode, and you don't really see a ton of robot kibble in the vehicle mode. It's really, really nicely done. I also love the inclusion of the extra gun piece for the arm extension. You can switch them out and store the other one on the back very easily. The only thing I have to complain about, and it is such a minor nitpick, I wish when you flipped this blade piece down that it could rotate 180 degrees and store along the back of the forearm. That's my only complaint. It's not even really that big a deal. I'll just leave the weapon in his hand all the time because I don't really need to put anything else in that hand because he's got two weapons over here as possibilities, so it's fine. But it would have been neat. But other than that, honestly, this guy's pretty close to perfect. I absolutely love him. I definitely recommend checking him out. I got mine from Amazon, but I believe people are finding him in stores. He might even be on Pulse soon. So when you can get a chance, definitely pick this guy up. I think he's really fantastic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.